Good morning, Bill. Thanks for joining us from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Looks like it's a bit breezy there. What's the latest on the storms?
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, this forecast much more manageable, thankfully, for the southeast coast of the United States compared to what the forecast models and our forecasts were looking like back on Friday. It's not very often that we say, essentially, thank goodness there's a big, powerful hurricane out in the Atlantic because that is what's happening. We've got Category 4 Hurricane Humberto out in the Atlantic, and it's essentially a meteorological tug of war that these forecast models were struggling with. But this bigger storm with lower pressure, it's essentially going to help pull Tropical Storm Imelda, which is down in the Bahamas right now, as it moves to the north, paralleling the coast off the U.S. We do expect Humberto to help pull Imelda out to sea, bringing the worst of the impacts away from the southeast U.S. and out to the Atlantic. So here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, we are dealing with some rain right now that's being pushed from the north end of the storm. Palm trees barely moving. The rain and the wind are expected to kick up throughout the day, but at this point with the AccuWeather forecast, we are looking at 2 to 4 inches of rainfall from Imelda here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, wind gusts of 20 to 40 miles an hour. Again, people here in this part of the country, that's manageable, right? They could easily handle that much rain. So big changes with the forecast track. This was a very difficult storm to forecast because of so many different factors. We had that dip in the jet stream to the west of the storm, and then Humberto to the east of the storm, kind of pulling. That's why we were struggling. Which way? What's going to win out? Where's Imelda going to go? Because you can remember those forecast updates late last week. We were talking about the potential of rainfall 1 to 2 feet that could impact parts of the southeast. Thankfully, now that is not the case. All forecast models and AccuWeather now showing that Humberto is going to help pull Imelda out to sea.
And that's obviously great news, but still some wet weather along the eastern seaboard that people are going to be dealing with.
Absolutely. I mean, we are warning people here. There is the potential. Some places could pick up several inches of rain, more than 4 inches. Localized flooding, always a concern, reminding people not to drive down those flooded roads. But again, this situation, the forecast impacts much more manageable. A lot of people here we were speaking with yesterday and this morning breathing a big sigh of relief. I remember this time last year, we were on the road for 2 weeks nonstop for the landfall of Hurricane Helene in Florida. Then we were up in the mountains of western North Carolina covering that catastrophic flooding last year. Then we all had to hightail it back down to Florida for Hurricane Milton for that second landfall. So again, big difference from this hurricane season at this point in the year compared to this time last year. People here on the southeast coast, again, breathing a huge sigh of relief with this storm. We could see some flooding issues, but again, reminding people to stay vigilant because this has been a unique hurricane season. We are far from over, and we're going to continue to track the tropics because we do have more tropical waves expected to move off of Africa here in the coming days.
All right, Bill Wadell, thanks so much for joining us from South Carolina. We appreciate it.